Hey ho! It's a perfect spring day and I need to record a video about Mxmake. Yeah, what I do for the Plone community. So, listen and learn. So what is Mxmake? Mxmake is a tool that utilizes Make to create environments for Python applications and other stuff. And it's a tool that assembles or combines or generates a make file from some snippets. The make file then is standalone and you can just run make with the make file. For Plone this means if you do make run, everything is set up for you. You don't need to call single steps. Mxmake does the dependency management for you. And if you need to install something or a requirements file or the PyProject terminal has changed, it runs automatically again all installation steps. Under the hood, Mxmake uses UV or pip and mixdev. Mixdev is a different tool. Mixdev takes an requirements and a constraints file and its own mix.ini file, and then it solves the problem with editable installs and version overrides where pip is weak. With UV this might change in future. UV is the real power tool here. With UV, overrides in constraints file are possible already. You can just define an overrides.txt. But if you want to use pip, you still need mixdev for overrides. But as far as I know, UV does not solve the problem of editable installs, where with pip at least, editable installs are always pinned to the hash on the time they were checked out or cloned. And if you reapply the file, all is reset, all your local changes. So Mxmake integrates all this with Mxmake, and virtual environment is created either with Python, venv, with UV. You can also use an existing virtual environment. Everything is configurable. So the generated make file consists out of a header section where you can set different aspects of your installation or what you want to do. And dependent on the included snippets in this make file, there are different settings. Everything is documented well. Mxmake has also its own help system. Make help prints out all commands or targets, and also you see all settings, and all settings you can override with environment variables. Creating a make file for Mxmake is as simple as typing Mxmake init. Or if you don't have Mxmake installed and UV is available, just type uvx Mxmake init. That's it. And if you have a make file and want to upgrade to a newer version of what Mxmake offers, you just type uvx Mxmake update. And then your make file is updated, but your settings are kept. A relative new feature of Mxmake is to use a presets file. So instead of entering all the settings needed on Mxmake init, you can place a presets YAML file and it's read, and all the settings are used to generate your make file. We don't have many examples here, but there is one available for Plone. So even if it's springtime, then now let's go to our office and then I show you some hands-on with some screencasting. See you! Back in Office, I want to show a very basic use case to just generate a makefile. Here we have the available topics. Topics are kind of categories for the snippets we have. Actually, the snippets we name domains in here. I choose the core and the applications, and maybe we want QA2. Inside of the core, we need everything but proxy. Inside of applications, we don't need twisted and actually not the test releaser. And here we take everything but rough. And now I could edit the settings for everything, but I don't do this here. I show it in the makefile later. Now a makefile was generated. So the makefile consists out of a header. Here at the top are all domains included as we selected them. And below are the settings where we can. And below are the settings. Those are documented. At first we want to set a run target because we have a Zope application. This is Zope start. This is out of the Zope domain, and in Zope domain there's a Zope start. It's always that we have this prefix of the domain, Zope dash, and then what happens. So there's Zope start and Zope stop and the Zope add user and so on and so on. This follows a clear pattern. Further down, we have here our include MCAS. So you can have your own make targets, but not in this file, not in the main make file. You have to do this in the include MCAS. Otherwise, it gets overridden on the next Mxmake update or Mxmake init run. In the core Mxenv domain, we have the Python version and also which package installer to be used. I want to have UV here for sure, and I want to use my global installed UV. So that's very important. Here we have other settings about the virtual environment, especially the virtual environment folder, which is .vend. It's a kind of standard these days. And then more configuration about all the domains we installed before. And at the end settings block is here, and everything below, any change below will be lost in case of a Mxmake update or Mxmake init. Mxmake init is something you want to do if you want to add a new domain. Mxmake update just updates the makefile according to the newest version of Mxmake. Now let's copy an instance YAML in here and also a requirements file. So like this. The instance YAML is configured with the initial user and password and the debug mode, but no additional packages. And the requirements file is actually very simple. It points to constraints, and then we want to install the package Plone, which pulls us everything in. Now make run, which starts actually Zope but installs everything. As you see, also the cookie cutter Zope instance is running, and we have a Zope and Plone up and running. Let's see, we have a Plone and Zope running. Actually, I could now install a classic or a Voto basic site. Now let's do this with Mxmake and the makefile. So let's stop this and go to the mx.ini file to tell us we want here a classic and distribution, and the extension ID here is, I think, classic UI default as far as I know. Let's see. Now let's make Plone site create. We install a Plone site here if the settings were right. Doesn't look that bad. And we now to make run again. Then we have here a Plone site, classic. Go here, empty Plone site. No default content, nothing, but that's okay. So let's say we want to develop some package like collective collection filter. So let's add it to our Mxinit. And then we need a section for the source here. This is like this. I prepared it. We have the sources section for Mxdev. This is one part. And next part is we need to tell in our requirements txt that we needed collective collection filter. And also we need in our instance YAML ZCML include with collective collection filter. So that ZCML gets included. Okay, let's see if this works. Make run. It checks out the sources. Looks kind of good. And Plone is running. So let's see. If we look in here, admin, not very secure. We should have site setup add-ons, our collection filter, and it's different flavors and we can install it. Let's install it with portlets, and then we can look at our portlets all and add here add portlet collection filter in all its variants. Okay, that works. What about turning this into a self-contained package like we did with build out? An add-on for Plone which uses Plone like a distribution or some profile like this. Just the basics for it. Currently we have some files, the generated Mxdev files, the files we created. We have a sources folder where the collective collection filter is in. We have instance folder here with etc stuff where the Zope is configured, the init user and the var. Everything is there with the database and the logs and the cache and so on. Now let's copy us a Pi project. Toml in, I prepared one. Let's have a quick look. And this Pi project Toml here defines the package foo test problem with test setup, something I prepared for some testing a test, so something like that. And I have classic UI, I use PyTest Plone, Plone content types test. I use Hatchling as a build system and use its build backend and configure the package here. Okay, very basic. Next, we need from prep, we copy the source directory. And we also copy the tests directory. If we have a look at the source directory, we have a very basic structure here with a configured ZCML, some interfaces and a browser layer and some profile. Nothing special, it does nothing, it's just there and can be installed. The test We have a conf test py and a test setup py. And if you have a look at the conf test are the PyTest fixtures. So your fixtures with our layers for functional integration testing. So everything is basic in place, nothing fancy, just to get it running. Now we need to wire it in. So first we need to edit the requirements file, to comment it in here, to make an editable install of the current directory. And we need to include the CML in our instance YAML, and I add it here. It's just called foo test. Not very creative, I know. Okay, and all this in place, and make run should do something. It starts our Plone. Now let's have a look. Actually, if we go back to the site setup and to the add-ons, now we have a foo test add-on in here. It has no uninstall, that's fine. I can install this add-on, all done. So this is a very, very basic add-on for Plone. Does nothing, no fancy views, nothing in there, no content types, just a profile that is just there. Okay, this is just the tip of the iceberg of Mxmake. But I hope it shows a bit what this does and what you can achieve with it, and much more, because it's very modular. So you might want to dive a bit into Mxmake. We have good documentation, and the last thing I want to show you is the latest edition, the presets for Mxmake, to make it easier to create a Plone site, for instance, or other projects. Presets means that all the settings on Mxmake init are in a file, and that's way easier than to remember all the settings in the interactive dialog. Let's dive a bit into this, and then we are done for today. So I prepared some presets for Plone. As you can see, we have here the Plone preset YAML, an instance YAML, and a requirements.txt. These files are not generated. The requirements.txt is just as simple as the before, using Plone 6.1 latest, and installs Plone. And the instance YAML is as simple that it just defines initial user, initial password, and sets the debug mode to on. Now, the most interesting part is the Plone presets YAML. Here we have at the top the topics, core with a domain base, we set a run target, the mix environment with its variables, black coverage, ISOT, all the domains we want to have. We want to generate a mix in if it does not exist. And here we may want to generate some templates for the GitHub actions. But, well, just as an example. So, Mxmake --help. I need to look it up. We need to get the help for init. And there's a -p for presets. That's it. Init-p Plone presets YAML. Yeah, it's new. I don't know the exact parameter of it. So let's try it. Oh, that's quick. Now we have here more files. We have makefile and a mixini. And if we look into the makefile, all settings are there. We have the run target, and more further down we have the Python version, we have the package installer, and so on and so on. So let's do make run. seems to work. And Zope is up and running. If we go to browser and reload this here. We don't have a Plone site in here, sure. But here we have an empty Plone and we could add a classic site here if we want. Okay. Thanks for watching these talks as part of the series of World Plone Day 2025 and have a good time.